2021, let's all be honest, isn't that great of a year album-wise. For a year where most albums I've listened to have not really lived up to the hype or the expectations I set before them, Bo Burnham's Inside is a complete and utter miracle. It goes without saying that not only is it better than any other Bo Burnham album, but it's a solid contender for the best album of the year regardless of genre. I'm sure many people have praised the music and it's special to no end, but I'm going to as well, because it feels so gratifying to have such a universally acclaimed work of art. This is going to be me reviewing the album with me adding in a few things from the special itself. But yeah, this album is an unprecedented work of genius, taking full advantage of the medium of music. For anyone who doesn't know, I mean, you probably do if you're watching this video, Bo Burnham during the pandemic wrote all the music by himself, produced it all by himself, and sung it by himself. You get the idea, and it makes for something that has absolute creative freedom and the utmost consistency. There's so many songs and jingles on this thing, I could really never dissect it all in an appropriate amount of time, so I'll just name my personal highlights. Healing the World with Comedy might be my least favorite of all the full-length songs. It's great and all, but it definitely says the least in my personal opinion. It shows how comedians are trying to heal the world with comedy whilst not making much of a real difference and being paid to do so rather than enacting actual change. Did I say this song said the least out of all of them? The next one I really enjoy is How the World Works, which is really the centerpiece for what the special is deep down, capable of being absolutely hilarious whilst being extremely grounded in reality. The opening verses paint a pretty picture of animals getting along, nature being beautiful, and then the album begins to show its true colors with the introduction of Sako, which is Bo Burnham singing in a high-pitched voice with a sock puppet, painting a true picture of the world built on war, blood, exploitation, political squabbles. And not only are the lyrics just straight fire, it manages to be incredibly catchy and its harmonization is top tier. But it's the character dynamic between Bo and Sako which I find most compelling. The way I see it is that Bo represents the world or those in control of it, and Sako represents the common people trying to enact change. And the moment people begin to fight back, Bo threatens them by tearing them out of the fabric of existence and putting them in a paralyzing state of being. It's incredibly dark and sinister while its tone has the same energy of a Barney the Dinosaur song. It's absolutely incredible how the song handles its comedic tendencies in contrast with its dark, serious undertones. It continues with White Woman's Instagram, which uses incredible imagery to describe the Instagram profile of this random white lady. But once more, it's reeling you in with its naive worldview. And then he begins singing about this woman's dead mother and how she's dedicating a post to how she misses her, and life is continually difficult to go through without her. It seems like this person is finally putting something else above her own desire to be an Instagram addict, and then suddenly she reverts back into her ways of making everything about herself. It's remarkably depressing, and it's something I actually expect from the real world. Unpaid Intern is a hilarious jingle, and yeah, we do have a lot of middle class and blue collar appreciation songs. It's time interns get some representation in music. And everything he says is true, all about how their lives are a constant struggle and are often depressing. It does all of this in less than a minute. 30 to me is a song about him reflecting on his 20s, his career, and the more he thinks about it as he ages just makes him incredibly sad, and how his dreams have been warped into something horrible. It's raw as hell and one of the most down-to-earth moments I've ever seen. I feel like I'm obligated to mention the Jeffrey Bezos jingles. They aren't that important lyrically, but they are probably the funniest moment on the entire project. All about the all-powerful god that is Jeff Bezos, capable of anything and cannot be stopped. Its message is more nuanced than most of the others, but after a lot of deep, heavy stuff, it serves as a great comedic counterbalance. And then we get to Welcome to the Internet, one of the most powerful songs I've ever been able to witness. This song goes from pleasantly charming to utter insanity, talking about the many features people find in the World Wide Web. I think the most charming thing is that everything he describes that's absolutely bonkers is something you can find online. There are plenty of lines that are enjoyable, but the one I find most peculiar is when he goes from talking about a quiz that tells you what Power Ranger you are to a crazy conspiracy the likes of Alex Jones would say about Obama sending immigrants to vaccinate children, showing how insanely derivative and damaging lies are camouflaged into your daily dose of content, capable of turning the most naive-minded people into the most stubborn of fools. He then begins to reflect on the age before mass consumption of the internet, before 9/11, and how things were wildly different, and then how the internet warped Gen Z into something completely monstrous, and how Bo views Zoomers as beyond saving. And this line truly says it all. Mommy let you use her iPad, you were barely 2, and it did all the things it was designed to do. Now look at you. Oh, look at you. That line is incredibly dark and shows how time has seemed to barely pass because of the addiction that the internet is. It makes it seem sincere and sympathetic. And then Bo lets out one of the most demonic laughs I've ever heard, revealing that this song is essentially a villain song, as the internet has done what it was meant to do, grip you and never let go. And unlike the many popular ones in pop culture, this is a villain song where the villain has already won. After we get a reprise of the flawless Jeff Bezos, we get into what I and many others consider the best song, being Funny Feeling. Even though this isn't the album's resolution, this seems to be the limit to Bo Burnham's resolve, where he has lost faith in humanity, how the world decides to go to war with one another on a number of issues, and he finds it pointless trying to fix it. He's given up, and believes humanity is beyond saving. And the line, "Hey, what can you say? We were overdue, but it'll be over soon. Just wait," is shockingly raw, and to be honest, I don't blame him for thinking this way. And then the album technically ends with Possible Ending Song, pretty much summing up the entire journey. And that's what this album is. It's a journey of a man trying to make a difference in the world. The album starts out bright and optimistic, with Bo wanting to make a change, only to slowly give up and question the meaning of trying to fix the world as the album progresses. Almost every song takes on an issue we as people have faced in our lives. The harsh reality of how the world works, obsession with vindication in white woman's Instagram, questioning our time as youth in 30, the corruption of Gen Z, and Welcome to the Internet. The album takes on a variety of deep, heavy topics while also being able to present them in a comedic manner, which is something my favorite works of art are capable of doing. It's a perfect balance of sheer hilariousness and crushing sadness. It has a great diverse sound woven together in a strong web of consistency. Out of all the projects done while in the pandemic, this is by far the best one we've yet to see. Not many people are going to be able to enjoy this album and are probably going to question it at every point, but if you are like me, seek this album out. I'm not sure if it's one of my all-time favorites yet, but Inside deserves nothing less than a 10 out of 10, and is of the highest of my recommendations. Thank you, Bo Burnham. This is nothing short of a masterpiece.